Man, we have our Force company, and now it's you and I rocking this morning before the suit comes on air. So, yeah, we're going to just ride until they're ready to go.
Indeed, ride on a Tuesday morning. A Preds game day as well, Nick.
Yes, and I'm going to be going home to take a nap. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. It's going to be a long day, especially if you wake up early, as a lot of people do around here, and you go up until about, 1 in the morning? It's Vancouver 9 p.m. puck drop.
Luckily, game one ended around 11:40-ish, I want to say. So I was in bed before midnight, which was nice. I can take the 10-foot walk to my bedroom, so that's always nice.
Yeah, that is nice. I think I'll be doing that tonight, especially.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, as for everything else around here, Nashville Cats, they got their practice going on over at Lipscomb today.
I'm excited for this because we're the flagship for them, and Eli Gold, the famous voice. It's so cool to have a guy like that with our station, Frazier. I'm so excited for that, but also the ties that we have back to good old Jeff Fisher. He'll be joining us later in the program as well. I don't know what time at some point, but maybe not. So
I don't believe so today.
No, not today?
I'm not sure. Still getting the schedules all situated out today.
I would love to. I would love to see that. So, but I saw Joe's teaser earlier this morning. So maybe not. Maybe not. I have no idea.
It's I don't know how else to put this, but with Big Joe, you never know what's going to come out with
That's
him.
true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's maybe sometimes he's kind of leading you on just for a good little tidbit there, or if he's, I don't know. It's just. It's an open book.
It is not open book.
It's a mystery box. Excuse me, a mystery box.
It
there
is.
we go. Yeah.
And especially when he writes his next mini book as well. So
yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what that always looks like as well with Big Joe on the go.
Exactly.
But anywho, yeah, looking forward to the Preds game tonight. We could talk a little bit more about that because I know that Robbie and Joe were kind of just previewing that as well for the last hour. So Adam Vingan joined as well. So if you want to check that out, go to Robbie and Rextra podcast anywhere that you go get that. But look, I think for the Preds tonight, it's a big challenge, Frazier. They had a struggle in game one. None of their big players showed up, but UC Saros struggled mightily at times. And look, being screened as short as he is, that's rough, and not making the saves is rough. So I'm wondering what kind of response they'll have here this evening. Now, we talked about X factors on Force Company on Saturday. Who has to be the biggest X factor in your book, Frazier?
Tonight?
Yes.
Luke Evangelista had a really good game one. If it's that, I would have to say Philip Forsberg. It was just the lackluster performance in game one. I feel like there has to be a little step up for him due to the fact that, having 48 goals and leading the franchise with that record, you kind of have to show a little bit more from your star goal scorer.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. And that's a good place to start. And I think looking at the top line as well, the struggle was getting shots on net, the effective shots on net. And I thought that Gus Nyquist looked pretty invisible as well. Ryan O'Reilly, he got the power play goal. The power play was 1 for 4 in case you missed it. So that's going to be another aspect that wins you a game. And so more importantly, if the Predators get more special teams opportunities, how can they improve on that moving forward as a team? And they didn't practice yesterday, which I found very interesting. Andrew Burnett kind of said that he wanted them to get out and about and not be at the rink at Rogers Arena. So that was an interesting point of view. But the Preds have kind of done that on road trips this season, so that's not too shocking. That's not a huge headline. Just give the guys a break. They're in a beautiful Vancouver, which I will also be there in the next month or so for my honeymoon. So I'm looking forward to that. So, but this is going to be a fun one tonight. And Vancouver, they got a lot of firepower too. So I don't know how much of that game you watched. I know that you were working that game. Did anyone stand out to you on Vancouver?
The good thing that I liked about from the Preds perspective is that they kind of stopped Quinn Hughes for the most part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, he had a goal.
He scored, yeah.
If you look at the totality of the game, he wasn't really much of a factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
obviously, Dakota Joshua had his 2 goals, but things that kind of stick out for me for Vancouver is the fact that the puck possession was kind of almost even, but the fact that, that home crowd environment kind of gives you that extra oomph. And so hopefully that's not much of a factor tonight. Hopefully the Preds can kind of score 1 or 2 goals early and kind of pacify the noise in there. But it's going to be a testy game for sure.
Yeah, it really will be. And I want to see who they start as well. The Predators usually give that fourth line a go to kind of set the tone for what they want to have for the whole evening as well. And so I was glad to see that Andrew Burnett relied on that line yet again to do something special. And I think that's going to be a mismatch. They kind of unintentionally did that on Vancouver's side because JT Miller up against Michael McCarron is not something I would have thought ever about for a playoff series going up against each other in the first few minutes of a game. But look, I think if you can put that top line versus top line, I would like to see that personally, just this one game to see how it works. If it doesn't work, go back to what you were doing. But I really thought, despite some of these guys not looking good stat-wise, I thought that Kiefer Sherwood, honestly, great spark plug of a hockey player. Phenomenal guy. But I also thought as well, they need to do a little bit more. They were out-physicaled, I would say, or they were just out-hit in that first game. Vancouver looked a little bit more aggressive in that one. So how can the Predators shift the tide before they come back home for 2 huge games?
Yeah, and you mentioned something there about just not being really good statistically for the first game. I kind of want to get your thoughts on Ryan McDonagh. What'd you see from him?
I'll tell you what, Ryan is always a stout defenseman. He's not going to be as lost as somebody would make it out to be when he makes a mistake. He's one of the quickest guys to get back in position. He is such a solid guy. And I think in the postseason, given now he's played 186 playoff games, folks. He's got plenty of experience, and he'll probably be number one at some point here in the next year or so when Corey Perry retires or just doesn't make the postseason anymore. But that's active number for sure. Now, for Ryan's sake, the best way to talk about what he did the best in game 1, he was just a basically good defenseman. He was just stout in front of his net. I think he was able to kind of direct the play, and I'm sure on the bench, he was a voice. And when you're a voice on the bench with guys that have not played, Tommy Novak, Luke Evangelista, you've also got, a couple of other faces as well. He didn't play, but Kevin Lankinen's another guy that's new as well. So I know that Kevin and Jussi kind of bounce off of each other too for no matter what kind of game it is when they talk about what they're seeing in front of each other. But yeah, and I have to point this out as well. It's tough. The Preds, they've not ever won a series after losing the first game. Can they rewrite history? Over at theGameNashville.com, I had a story yesterday. But look, it's going to be interesting to see how they can turn that around. But McDonagh is a huge factor, Frazier.
And another thing is mentioned, the goaltending, Lankinen, Saros. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you got to roll back in game 2 with Saros because if you don't, it's more of like a confidence kind of factor at that point, right? You have to roll with your main guy, even though, Vancouver's tactic has kind of been screening in front of the net. And now, with this all being said, if he doesn't have a good performance tonight, meaning Saros, do you roll with Lankinen in game 3?
No, you don't. I think you've got to lean on Saros as long as possible. I had somebody say to me on Twitter yesterday, go to Lankinen, or Lankinen, I think is how they spelled it, which is pretty funny. But regardless, no, you don't go to Kevin. I had that thought in my head long term. Would they maybe go to him? He's reliable. He's good. The Preds did give him a start against the Canucks earlier this season, but I would not anticipate that. I wouldn't even think about it too much longer. I wouldn't even put too much air on that as well or exhaust my thoughts on that just because Kevin's good, but I think Jussi, like we talked about last hour on Robbie and Rex Road, it's a matter of if you're going to pay Saros, he's got to step up for you, and that's the way you have to look at it. He's got to play those games, Frazier. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Well, hey, we are off and running here on the Chase and Big Joe Show. If you want to weigh in on the conversation, it's 615-737-1025. The phone and text line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will be back here in a little bit on the Chase and Big Joe Show, and stick around.
Finally, showtime, folks. Welcome in. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. A little late. Sorry about that, but, sometimes things go wrong. Chase McCabe at Lipscomb Academy, the Nashville Cats training camp. Joe Dubin is back at the Busy Bee Plumbing Studios, and we'll be on in just a second as the Cats are getting ready for their opener, the reboot of the Cats, coming up Saturday night at Municipal Auditorium. So looking forward to that. We'll be talking to different people involved in the Cats organization, also getting you set for game number 2 between the Predators and the Vancouver Canucks later tonight. Another late start, 9 o'clock start. Then, of course, we'll have extended pregame coverage beginning at 6 o'clock with Max Hers, and I'll also be jumping in as well. So 3 hours to get you set for puck drop, and looking forward to that. Big Joe, is he there yet?
He is here. He is getting settled in as we speak.
Okay, he can get settled. That's fine. My bad. Little crazy, but hey, you know what? It's always crazy on the Chasing Big Joe show. Nothing new there. But the Predators look to bounce back after a Game 1 loss to Vancouver. And, I've heard all the analysis over the past, 48 hours or so and since the end of the game and what coaches have said. They didn't practice yesterday. And I got to tell you, I don't have an issue with that. It was a hard-fought game on a Sunday night. And the fact that they decided to not practice yesterday, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. I know how intense the playoffs can be, this time of year, and so that's what the coaches decided and decided not to, practice and just kind of rest up for tonight. They know what they need to do. I don't think there's anything they can do and get on the practice rink that's going to, change anything. That they know what they need to do tonight against Vancouver, and so they will do just that when they hit the ice for game number 2. The big thing for me is UC Saros. I didn't think he played a good game the other night. He has to have a bounce back, and I think he will. I mean, we've seen that before. You got to see more out of Yossi. You got to see more out of Forsberg. All those things that have been said over and over again, and I believe that will certainly be the case. So we'll get into a lot of that as we go along on this Tuesday. The draft just 2 days away. Nothing's really changed there, but we will hopefully. I'm ready for the draft to come and go, as all of us are. But
be here before you know it, Chaser. Be here before you know it.
A fun weekend. I know. Hi, Joe.
Hey, pal. How are we today?
How are you?
Good, man.
Oh, hanging in there.
Oh, I just did my tour of kind of South and East Nashville and the traffic. Y'all be safe out there because it's another crazy day on the Nashville roadways.
Well, it always is. That's the life of living in Nashville, Tennessee. And but, I'm impressed that you made it in about 15 minutes.
You are
I saw you
so welcome.
about 20 minutes ago. And
Yeah, not
So,
bad. Got through all the red lights and got here to the station, and man, it's a beautiful day.
It is indeed. It is indeed. So what's kind of your thoughts? Game 2 tonight. You've had a day to reset. They didn't practice yesterday, and some people might make a big deal of that the Preds weren't on the ice. But as I was just saying, I don't know if you're really going to change much by going out for 1 day of practice. I think just getting your head right, having a rest day is not a bad idea.
I completely agree with you. You can watch the film, see what you did wrong. I mean, all those things like that. Bottom line is, come out tonight mad. Come out tonight angry. Come out tonight desperate. We've talked to hockey coaches throughout the years, and they said the worst kind of hockey team to face is a desperate hockey team. Be desperate tonight and just go crazy and go out there and know that your back is so against the wall. And I know it's not the most important critical game, but, in the playoffs, these things are important. So, still won tonight. Come back here Friday 1-1, but go out tonight angry. Go out tonight desperate. Do things you haven't done before and play at another level. I know it's easier said than done as I sit here overweight in the 102.5 The Game studio, but just go out there and play angry tonight and try to still want to come back here. And, man, if they still won tonight, Chase, or come back here Friday, I mean, Bridgestone's going to go crazy anyway. But if they come back here Friday night
Right.
and it's 1-1, it'll be at another level and people will lose their minds again. So just concentrate about tonight, win the game, get back here Friday.
Yeah, it's a whole different series if you're coming back to Nashville tied at 1. And, I know that there's no comparison. The 2011 team and this team are completely different, but that's what happened in 2011. They had a tough-fought game, lost game 1, needed 2 overtimes in game 2, and then tied the series up and came back to Nashville. It can certainly happen that way this time around. And, the key is going to be UC Saros. And everybody's, over analyzed UC Saros and, is this going to, how he does in this series, is this going to affect Barry Trotz and his decision and, what he does moving forward if he wants to go to Askarov and trade Saros or re-sign Saros long term? They're not thinking about any of that. Like that is the furthest thing from anyone's mind in that organization right now, because all Barry Trotz and Andrew Brunette are focused on in UC Saros is winning game 2 tonight. And so that's what happens, in a playoff series when there's so much anticipation. The first game finally happens. The result isn't what anybody around here wanted. And then we spend 2 days overanalyzing, going, oh, it's the end of the world. What are they going to do? Oh, it's the Saros era is coming to an end. That's not it. It's like you just said, go in angry. And I love that. Go in pissed off. Look in the mirror. I use this analogy all the time. Look in the mirror, envision that you got blood coming down your lip because you got sucker punched in the mouth.
Good Lord.
In the first game. Be pissed off and go in and do to them what they did to you in game 1.
I agree. Also, if you lose tonight, be upset. I mean, but it's not over. I mean, it's not a game, the best of 2. I mean, it's the best of 7. So just concentrate on tonight. Go out there and get it done. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. But, now the pressure is still, the pressure's on anyway because you're in the playoffs. But when you come back here Friday and Sunday, if you're down 0-2, well, you know what you got to do. You got to win 2 to stay alive. I mean, it's that simple of a process. But tonight, just go out there, get the 1 tonight, and come back here for Friday.
Yes, indeed. So that will be on. We'll have that coverage for you with Max Hers beginning at 6:00. I need to laugh right now.
Right.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Judge.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I'm delirious because of Nashville traffic, so I'm good right now. Chase, where are you, buddy?
Yeah.
I don't seem to see you in the studio.
Yeah, I'm at Lipscomb. I'm at Lipscomb Academy. They're a beautiful facility that they have here. I'm in the coach's office right now.
Okay.
So I am sitting, staring out at the football field. We'll get a lot of action on Friday nights, but this is where the Nashville Cats hold their training camp and their practices and everything. So they'll be out for practice here in a little bit, and looking forward to that. And
Let me ask.
we'll talk to some people from the Cats.
Has Lipscomb burned everything regarding Trent Dilfer at that campus, I hope? If not, I'll come over there and help them burn anything else that Trent Dilfer left behind.
I have not seen anything with him on it. So
Okay.
I would say yes.
All right. Well, good.
I would
If
say
you,
that they have done that.
if you find like a little notepad with his name on it, let me know, and I'll come over there and help Lipscomb burn that thing as well. So glad that jackass is gone.
Tell us how you really feel.
I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Yeah.
What was there one particular thing that set you off, or was it just
Yeah,
how it all went down?
I went to do a story on the football team. High school football coaches in Middle Tennessee are fantastic. They're all fantastic, and you and I know about 98% of them. So if we want to do a story on them, we call them up a day before and say, hey, coach, we're going to come out. When I worked in TV, stop by, and they're like, hey, yeah, we'd love to have you. Come out here. I can't wait to see you. All of them. There's only been one high school football coach who told me to go through his personal PR, and that was Trent Dilfer. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. I'll play a little game. And then I called his PR, and I said, hey, I'm going to come over tomorrow. And she's like, well, tomorrow's not a good day, and the day after is not a good day. And I said, I'm coming by to get a quick interview, shoot some B-roll to practice, and I'm done. It's going to take literally 15 minutes. She says, oh, I don't know if he has 15 minutes. So I called him.
My goodness.
I said, I'm coming by. He's like, well, you got to clear it with PR. I said, no, I'm coming by. I went to practice the next day, walked on the field, grabbed him, did an interview. He didn't know who I was, which was fine. Nothing was brought up, and I got my interview and walked out of there. But he was treating it like it was an NFL camp. Now, I'm not saying you got to, bend over. Here comes TV around. But I'm there to give you coverage and see how things are going. And, it was a nice story at the time. And the fact that you're sitting there having to run through your personal PR, what about the school's PR? Then I knew, I said, you know what? He might win a couple championships, but this isn't going to end well. And it didn't end well. And now a lot of Lipscomb people are like, we love Dilfer. Now you can't find one single player family who says they love Trent Dilfer. Now there might be one who'll call in and say, wait. But I'm telling you, they all did a 180 when that guy skedaddled out of town. That's why I don't like Trent Dilfer.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's well documented what happened after that. But
yeah, well, they got a coach
hopefully
now in Jamie Graham, who is one of the finest, fantastic men coaches that Nashville, Tennessee's ever produced. He went to Whites Creek, played at Vanderbilt. I think he might have played at UCLA to end out his career. He's outstanding. He's a class individual. He's fantastic. He's from the city. And he went to Vandy. He's just a good man. Lipscomb did it right. They got a good coach over there now, and Jamie Graham, who's going to build a respectable, professional, fantastic high school program, and I look forward to seeing his success at Lipscomb.
Yeah, no, I agree with you and everything you just said on that. A great hire. I think he's going to be awesome. And, you and I, as you mentioned, high school football means so much to us that, obviously you hear a lot of that flavor on the show, and we'll continue to do so. So good luck to him. We'll have some Cats flavor as we go along. We're finally up and running. Chasing Big Joe here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 102.5, 106.3, The Game, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. I'm at Lipscomb Academy today for Nashville Cats training camp. Big Joe back at the studio, and the Cats will open their season on Saturday at Municipal Auditorium, and we're excited now to have Dean Kokinos, the head coach of the Nashville Cats, on with us. And, Coach, thanks so much for doing this. It's good to see you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here with you, and thanks for coming.
Well, and you and I were just talking during the break about the excitement around bringing this team back, bringing the Arena League back, and you being a part of that. But how difficult has it been to put a team together and scout a team that hadn't played? I mean, the Arena League's been gone. So what's this process been like?
Well, I think it's been really fast, right? Short window, short turn for us coming in the new year, getting this thing put together in under 3 months. But I think a credit to the way, Coach Fisher and Nancy and Tamara, our owners, put this thing together. Hired really good people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I had the opportunity to hire some really good, experienced coaches with us. Adam Shackelford, longtime Arena guy. We played together in a championship game years ago. And for us, it was just, it was kind of like you just flip that switch and you just go back to do what you do. I haven't coached Arena football in 5 years or more, since 2018. So, and just me and Adam just hit the ground. Coach Fisher had a few guys. I had a few guys, and we just, put together a team real fast. And, the goal was to build it inside out, have local flavor, regional guys, whether they're born here, played here, high school or college, and expand out. We had to get – the biggest challenge was finding players that played indoors. The Arena League's been gone. AFL has been gone, right? So, IFL is this league called the IFL. So we went out and pretty much found the best players in that other league and got those guys to come here. Coach Shaq did a great job with that, and then we got a lot of guys trickling down from the NFL and just went through our normal process of finding, we know how to find players, and we just did it faster this time, and we didn't waste time over-evaluating. We picked the guys we wanted and went and got them.
How cool has it been for you? You know what Jeff Fisher did around here, obviously, and then in the National Football League, being able to collaborate with him and, lean on that experience. You obviously have the experience from the Arena League, but you two being able to work together to build this thing.
Yeah, no, Jeff's been awesome, man. That's, I was done with Arena ball. I actually worked with the Titans as well. Me and Pat Sprudio, who's the coach here with the Cats originally, and we both did some personnel together and worked way under Jeff back then. Been around him, but when it came back, we just got together for through a third party. We met a few times, Jeff and I did, and some other people, and Greg Pogue, and just kind of showed me, told me what he wanted to do here and build something for the community and put this thing together. And with his background of building teams, NFL teams, and my experience in the Ring League, and Greg with the media. I mean, it's just like kind of we're all kind of at the end of it, and we all got kind of thrown together. But just Jeff's the kingpin on this deal. Like, I think we're all here with him, and he kind of pulls us all together, and it's been great. We have a lot of professional people here from the owners down, so it's been awesome working with Jeff.
Dean Kokinos is with us, head coach of the Nashville Cats. They'll open their season against Minnesota on Saturday at Municipal Auditorium. So Ramon Atkins, he's going to be the guy under center for you at the quarterback position. And we always talk about the quarterback, most important position on the team. How much does that differentiate, though, in the Arena League? Because you have a shorter field. Are you looking for long balls, athletic? Like, what set him apart from his competition?
Well, the biggest thing, he's played indoors. He's one of the IFL guys that we talked about, and he's had a great career over there. I think he was Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, first team, all that stuff. And I've known his agent for many years, NFL agent, and he's talked about this kid for 2 or 3 years, trying to help him, play in the XFL or another league. And I made some calls from over the years, so I always had him in the back of in my notebook. If I was going to coach a team somewhere again, and he's just a great guy. First off the field, I think that was important to us. He's a leader, he's a high character guy, he's a super athlete. But he's been in the arena, and I think that's a big deal for us. In the arena game, you said it earlier. It's hard to come from the big field to the small field. The game changes tremendously. We had great quarterbacks here, Jeff Smoker, Clint Sterner.
Yeah.
Guys came off the big field, did well for us. We had a lot of other guys now that couldn't do it coming out of the NFL. And Ramon is just different because, he's a big, strong guy. He can throw it. He can run it. He can sit in the pocket. He's very cerebral. He's a smart guy. He's a tough guy. He's everything you want in an arena football quarterback. So Right now, he's just got to learn the game a little bit. It's different than the IFL game. So he's doing right now. He's coming along pretty good.
How special is it to, not only the Arena League itself, but to bring back the Cats name? Because the Cats, I remember going to Cats games growing up, and when they built Bridgestone, that was one of the first sporting events there, and it made us a major league city, of course, with the Predators and the Titans coming to town. But to be a part of bringing that brand, that name back in 2024, how special is that?
Yeah, it's really special. I live here. I moved here in 2004 to come work with the Cats and the Titans. The second time now with Mr. Adams, and you probably remember the first time with Mark Bloom as the owner, and the only show in town back then.
That's right.
It was a big deal, and I think that's when the brand started. Right, the first time Eddie Kaya was the head coach, Jay Gruden was the offensive coordinator, Pat Spuduta was the defense coordinator, and I think that's where the stamp was made. And then the second time I was here with Mr. Adams and Pat was the head coach.
Andy Kelly was the quarterback,
Andy Kelly,
too,
yeah. First time around. Andy, Corey Fleming, UT guys. And it really that group of men that started this, it still resonates. Every now and then over the years, I've never left Nashville. It's my home. I've coached many other teams, and you come back, and if you wear a Cats T-shirt, 5-6 years ago, we just said people remember the Cats.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a brand. It's got a special name. There's a special place in the community to be part of the Cats, and I'm really excited about that. I know Jeff is. We talked about that. Doing something back for our community in this organization with the Cats brand. It's going to be pretty cool.
And to play in a historic building like Municipal Auditorium, so many great concerts or sporting events or what have you. I mean, that just adds to it.
Amazing. It's unbelievable when you walk the halls of that place with all the tickets and everybody that's played there. And now what they've done, our ownership, and now Chuck McDowell's with us, and they're really doing a lot of upgrades there. It's going to be a really cool place. It's getting upgraded. We got a new field, we got new nets, we got new walls, our new locker rooms are being rebuilt. The green room, the VIP room, and then you throw in the flavor of that historic building. It's a pretty cool place. So I can't think of a better place to play arena football than the Muni.
So with this league returning, first 5 minutes of the game, do you feel like there's going to be a filling out process with both teams of, even though you can practice everything all you want, but nothing can truly, emulate what happens within a game. So what do you kind of look for in that first 5 minutes?
Yeah, no doubt. I think you said it when you started this conversation. We have no identity. We have no idea what we got, right? So we're throwing a bunch of guys never played together before. That's first. There's no carryover, And guys, most of them never played arena ball. I think we had one or two guys. So there's always that wild card. Then you throw in first game of the year, all the entertainment piece is going to be, then everybody's going to be amped up. Quarterbacks, and I think the first 5 minutes is might be a lot of fireworks early. We'll see, or it might be sloppy. You just don't know, And I think once things settle down, it'll turn into a good arena football game. But I think it's unexpected what's coming. But I know there's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of noise going early, and so hopefully our guys just go out and play fast.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to it and being partners and having you all on the radio as well. But going to be a lot of fun Saturday night.
Oh, it is,
Can't
man.
wait.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Dean Cankino is with us, the head coach of the Nashville Cats. Joining us here on the program, we'll have more from Lipscomb here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
All right, friends, look, I love hearing from all of you who are using medical house calls and love the experience, the commitment, and the care. All right, here's how it works. I get asked how it works. Here it goes. One, going to give them a call because all visits start with a phone call with one of the providers to determine the extent of your needs. Second, you're going to pick your treatment, answer a few questions. They'll provide you with the best treatment options, home visit, telehealth, or virtual prescription. Third, my friends, you're going to feel better in no time. Their great medical staff will get you up and running, and yes, feeling better. Board-certified nurse practitioners and physician's assistants will guide you the entire way. In fact, our good friend Chuck McDowell used medical house calls, so impressed with their service, their commitment, and their care, he bought the company. Here's what you need to do. Just visit the website, medicalhousecalls.com, medicalhousecalls.com. While there, you can see everything you need to figure out with scheduling an appointment. And also, I tell you guys this all the time, go read the numerous fantastic reviews Medical House Calls is getting every single day. Again, that is medicalhousecalls.com, where the nearest clinic is where you are.
Well done, Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Tuesday at Lipscomb Academy today. Nashville Cats having their training camp. Coach Jamie Graham just walked in from Lipscomb a few minutes ago, so good to see him as well, JoJo. But look, it's a really exciting time in Nashville. This is the most probably anticipated draft in the last few years for the Titans because they're picking at 7. You got the Predators in the playoffs playing Game 2 tonight, and then they'll have 3 and 4 this weekend at Bridgestone Arena, so you know that'll be rocking. And then you got the return of the Nashville Cats. You got the marathon on the streets of Nashville this weekend. Let's see, I guess the Sounds are on the road. Nashville SC's got their season going. There is so much going on in our city right now from a sports standpoint, and it's a lot of fun.
It is fun, and it's exciting what's going on. First of all, let's talk about the draft. I mean, the last thing that, Rand Carthon and Callahan ever want to do again is draft in the top 20. That means if you're drafting after that, you're in the playoffs. Because you're doing well. I mean, you don't have to be up there for those reasons. So you look at that. That's going to be fun. And, of course, the Preds playing Friday and Sunday and the Cats on Saturday. But I got to tell you, I'm looking at Mel Kiper. He just released his big board, and he's not so much saying where players are going here and there, but his 7th best player on the board, Chaser. And a lot of you guys, I'm telling you, you don't want to draft this guy. And all these Titans fans are like, let's get him. You guys are so in love now with Brock Bowers, it's almost comical. Stop. You don't have a left tackle. Stop.
You got to get a left tackle.
Yes.
Have you heard Jared tell the right tackle story?
I maybe, I don't know.
It's one of my favorites, and I remember it. So he and Floyd are starting the show, and they're at training camp, and Jared's kind of making, conversation. He never really worked with Floyd before, and it's all kind of beginning, and he goes, so Floyd, what do you think? How do you think the Titans are going to be? And Floyd kind of pauses, and he looks at him and goes, we don't have a right tackle. And Jared goes, that's pretty important, huh? And Floyd goes, right tackle? Yeah, pretty important. And right now the answer is we don't have a left or a right tackle.
Exactly.
Like that's basically where they're at. So, and whether there's guys out there that are still in free agency, I mean, if they're still out there in free agency, that's not really what you want either. So
no,
I'm with you. Go get just draft Joe Alt at 7 and call it a day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Floyd knew more about football than we'll ever know in 57 lifetimes. And so that's a general manager who understands the importance of 5 guys up front. And look, Titans fans, you saw last year how bad they were. So why don't you look, if you're at your house and your garage doesn't work, right? What do? Just go through, your garage door doesn't open? What do? Just plow through your garage? No, you get it fixed.
You probably would, yeah.
I have. So you get it fixed, and here's how you fix your offensive line, a major part of it. Just get your left tackle. Do not draft Brock Bowers. Just don't do it.
Not at 7.
Not at 7. Yeah, he's going to be gone, but he's sitting there at 7. You got Joe Alt and Brock Bowers. Don't take Brock Bowers. I'm telling you, you don't have a tackle. Solidify a critical part of your football team. Get it and move on. And I think Rand Carthon and Callahan, I think they know this.
Sure.
They don't know this. And look, if they take Brock Bowers over Joe Alt, there's a serious problem at St. Thomas Sports Park inside with management. I'm telling you right now. And you guys are like, well, Brock Bowers. Blah, blah. Look, Brock Bowers is going to get to the next level. And, there's some great people who, guarded him in the SEC. But now he's got these professional guys who are getting paid a lot of money to guard him. It's not going to be the same had he did what he did at Georgia. So just get Joe Alt and let's be done with it. That's that simple.
Yeah, look, I have no doubt. Brock Bowers, I think, is going to have a pretty good NFL career. But you got to address your needs first. And unless they trade back and the tackle's not there and he's the best player available, if they trade back to 10 or 11 or what have you, then okay, that's a different conversation. But it's got to be a really good trade, for me to want to trade back. I don't know if you've seen this video, and it's probably been out there, but I just happened to stumble across it last night, of Monty Austin for it. who of course was here. Now he's the GM of the Arizona Cardinals from last year, working the trade with the Houston Texans to move up to 3 after the Texans had taken C.J. Stroud. Arizona, I guess, had the third pick, and he's working the deal for them to move up. And then the next part of that is he works a deal for Arizona to move back up. It was really fascinating because I've never actually – I don't think I've ever really seen that before. Of he's working the phones and he's calling one GM and he goes, "Are you guys out?" And he goes, "Well, you got to tell me. I got 5 minutes. Like this is the offer. I told you I'm not taking that." Like it's that kind of back and forth. And then he's on the phone with Nick Caserio from Houston. He goes, "Okay, is that still what you're offering? All right, I'll call you back." And and they're talking about it in the war room and everything. It was just really, really fascinating.
Where was this? Where did you see this?
I think it was on Instagram. That it was Schefter posted it.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out. Wait, hold on. So you weren't watching cat reels?
No, this was in between cat reels. Like I was scrolling through and there was some cat reels. There was a funny one with a dog. There was Monty Austinfort making a trade, and then there was an old sketch from Whose Line Anyway Is It Anyway that I don't think I can repeat on the air.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we're like two 15-year-old girls. Me, you, and Ricky. We all send reels to each other all day long. But it's fantastic.
No, it's awesome. And by the way, speaking of Joe Alt, I want to really push this out there. TD talked to him last week on the Talking with TD podcast. He's going to join Jared on Thursday before the draft.
TD is?
No, Joe Alt.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, so Joe Alt will be on with Jared draft day. So that'll be fantastic. And who knows, maybe he'll be talking to the audience that he'll be spending a lot of time with come starting Thursday night, whenever he's picked, which would probably be, let's see, the draft starts at 7. I mean, pick 7's probably going to be into the 7 o'clock hour, around 8 o'clock Thursday night.
Well, they'll all use, don't they all use every set? Don't they have 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah, because
they'll use every second of that.
They want, the
ready, and they got
they lost their pick. Yeah,
that is just if that happens to the Titans, fire everybody. I'm Jared Stillman. Fire everybody over at St. Thomas Sports Park. If you can't get your pick in on time, fire everybody to do that. So yeah, I'll be interested to see. And and again, I'll be sitting there. I've got to go to an event Thursday night, but I'll have my phone ready to go. And don't make this hard. That's what she said. Just go out and draft. Just draft Joe Alt and get it done. I haven't been emotionally invested in a Tennessee Titans draft pick ever, right? Because I worked in television and I just make your pick, but now I'm in radio and I'm thinking, all right, I want to see this team do well, and by doing well is drafting Joe Alt. Just draft him. Don't make it so difficult for the rest of us. Don't.
So we say this is the most anticipated draft in a long time. When we come back, what is the most anticipated draft in Titans history? Just since you can even count 97 since they got to Nashville. I mean, there's a few that come to mind, but I don't know. This one just feels different. You can weigh in on that 615-737-1025. That's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It's Chase and Big Joe live at Lipscomb Academy today, 1025-1063 The Game. Hounds released, hour number 2. Chase and Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Live today at Lipscomb Academy. Nashville Cats on the field for training camp as they'll, or practice, I guess is what it is, will open their season coming up Saturday at Municipal Auditorium. And you can hear that, of course, right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game starting at 7. So much going on in our city. But the draft is Thursday night in Detroit. And an anticipated draft for the two-tone blue and with the Tennessee Titans. And we're excited about our draft show at Twin Peaks in Madison with Jared and Chris Sanders and Derek Mason, and ESPN's Trevor Maddich will be a part of it this year. They'll check in with Teron and everybody at the facility. So much going on there. But, you know, I've mentioned that this is – and do you agree with this? Before we continue this, you agree with what I said, right? This is one of the most anticipated drafts they've had in a long time.
It is. And I think because of a new head coach, it's kind of that way. And also, you know, the NFL's never been as popular as it is right now. And you want to see where this football team goes from here. And there's some critical needs they got to get. So you're wondering – and there's all this, you know, talk of what's going on. So I totally agree with you how the anticipation for this – is a next level. Now, we've seen other drafts here before. We'll get to that in just a moment, but I agree with you about the anticipation for this.
I think everything you just said is correct with the new coach and, you know, it's second-year GM, but the first year that he's working with Callahan and, you know, not having that whole dynamic that was here before. But it's the 7th pick. Like, that's a big deal. A top 10 pick in any draft is a big deal, and we've seen the Titans have that before. But where does it rank in Titans history of anticipated drafts? You know, for me, the first one that comes to mind is 2006 because you knew they were going to take a quarterback. There were 3 that, you know, were mentioned in Leinart and Vince Young and Jay Cutler. And we obviously were all very familiar with Jay Cutler, having played at Vanderbilt. You know, Vince Young plays in one of the greatest, maybe the greatest college football games of all time in the Rose Bowl, as does Leinart. So those two go head-to-head. There was so much with that, and it was the dawn of the next era. You know, you knew that even though at the time McNair was still on the team and everybody thought, okay, he'd still be there and he would be the mentor and, you know, you draft one of the guys to be the backup, and we know what happened. But it was kind of like we all knew that those Titans teams from a few years earlier, you know, with Derek Mason and with Eddie George and Steve McNair and Javon Curse and all those guys, they were turning the page to the next chapter. So to me, it was 2006. That might be the most anticipated one that I can remember.
All right, so because I'm a lot older than you are, I've been covering all the drafts since '97. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to run down real quick. 99 was important because that's when you first became the Titans, okay?
Yep.
And you're picking at 16, and the talk was Andy Katzenmoyer, that from Ohio State. That was the talk. He's a linebacker. He's going to be great. And I think, and this is where a lot of credit should go to Floyd Reese, he doesn't get enough credit for this, is that nobody talked about Javon Curse, and the talk was, and we discussed this last week in 99, where do you play him? He's 6'5", he's 240, he's 250. Does he stand up? Does he line down? Well, if he lines down, he's not big enough. He's going to get pushed around. If he stands up, well, he's not fast enough to guard the tight end, blah, 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 blah. Floyd Reese saw through all that garbage, and they took Javon Curse. To me, that was anticipated. I was in the trailer over at Old Bellevue and that garbage facility over there that they had, and it came out like nobody thought they were going to take – it was Andy Katzenmoyer. And he ended up going to New England a few picks later, and they took Curse. And I just thinking, all right, yeah, how's this? They know something, and they knew something. And from game one, Javon Curse was unstoppable. I mean, that was the game when they played against the Bengals. They played the Browns in week 2 and just took off. And we remember the game here versus the Rams. And false start Fred Miller. I mean, he had 6 false starts in the game. You couldn't stop him. So that's the one. Now, I agree with you in 2006 because – that was Houston had the number 1 pick in 2006.
Yep.
And Vince Young's in Houston.
Williams.
And they're like, all right, I'll never forget, Chase. The next morning was the marathon, and we're getting ready to do the marathon, and word got out late Friday night. And I'm standing over at Centennial Sports, and we're all looking at this thinking, oh, my goodness, the Houston Texans have agreed to a deal with Mario. What in the world? How are they?
That was the old days that you could do that.
How are they passing on a Texas legend? How are they passing on a hometown legend? How are they doing this? And then number 2 was the Saints, and you knew
Hang
that
on, go back. Who was the quarterback for Houston at the time?
it was Matt Schaub.
Matt Schaub, that's right.
So you go back. So number 2 was the Saints, right? Well, the Saints already
Yep.
had Drew Brees was going to come in there. That would have been his first year. They'd sign him and all that other stuff, from his injury. So third, you're thinking, all right. And then the famous words, VY's my guy. He trumps Fisher and Floyd Reese, and you get Vince Young. And I mean, look, there's a few things that Vince did that first year. That overtime win versus Houston down there was amazing. I mean, the 45-yard touchdown run to win the game. You're thinking, all right, this is all right, we see the future now. I mean, this is something, this guy is living up to his hype, and he was just lazy, and he didn't have Mac Brown. And then the stories start coming out about how he was babied by Mac Brown and how he's like, it's going to be okay, Vin. And then all this took off, and then him and Fisher didn't get along and everything, and then the rest after that goes down. And then another one that is 11, right? You needed a quarterback, and that's the lockout year. You had to take Jake Locker. You had Matt Hasselbeck on as a quarterback, but I think they were like, all right. And the choice is that, remember, at 11, Cam Newton goes 1, so it came down to Locker and Blaine Gabbert. Those
Andy
were your
Dalton. Don't forget, Andy Dalton was in the mix there.
That's right. So they take Jake Locker, who the year before, all the draft, like, hey, this guy's a can't-miss product. He just didn't love football. That was it.
No.
And that's fine.
Well, okay. I think he did. I think Ken Wisenhunt ruined it for him. I really, really do. I think that was a guy that, he's brought in by Munchak in that staff. That doesn't work out. They bring in Wisenhunt, and Wisenhunt just absolutely took the love of the game away from him, and he just walked away. I'm serious. I think Wisenhunt ruined Jake Locker.
What was the game when Locker scrambled, ran in the end zone, and got blasted, scored a touchdown? I'll never forget, Wisenhunt just went off on him because he wasn't supposed to run and do that. And somebody's texting and say, well, Mariota in 15 at 2. No, we already knew they were going to take Mariota at 2. So there was no
I agree.
There was no anticipation because Winston was going number 1 to Tampa, and 2 was going to be Mariota coming here to Nashville. So we knew all that. To me, a very underrated, anticipated part of this is 2017 when they had 2 draft choices. And I think Robinson blew it on Corey Davis. He would have been great at 25, 28, whatever, but at 5.
That was when they traded. Was that when they traded with did they actually have the 5th pick, or
well, the year before they traded with the Rams when they traded.
Yeah. Okay, so they got the Rams pick. That's right.
And Fisher was involved in that, getting the with Jared Goff.
I know. I wish he was around. I'd love to ask him about all this stuff.
Now, I'm always curious why. Look, I watched Adoree Jackson, USC, and that Rose Bowl versus Penn State, he was fantastic. All over the field as a DB. I think he ran a kickoff or a punt back for a touchdown. He was amazing. I don't know how and he's had a nice career in the National Football League. I just don't know what happened when he got here. I think he got here, he found a very crowded secondary that he didn't fit into. And remember, he wasn't a big fan of Vrabel that went on and everything. And so, to me, 2017 was important.
There was more to that too, because he was. I'm with you. I was really disappointed that didn't work out because he was such an athlete in college, and Malarkey wanted to use him like in every on defense, on special teams, on offense. Like, remember, he got a couple of reps on offense.
Under
Malarkey.
Yep.
And then Vrabel didn't care. Vrabel wasn't about that stuff, and they didn't get along. So, again, I think there are guys and we could probably do a whole show on this, of guys that come into the league and they're just in the wrong situation, whether it's the wrong scheme or the wrong coach or whatever, and it changes their whole career. In some ways, it ruins their career. Like, I go back to 2006, and I wish – I need to have this audio just on standby because this is a moment I'll never forget. In the middle of COVID, when we got nothing to talk about, Jared's on vacation. Floyd and I are doing the show, and we start talking about drafts. And I just go, if you could go back and convince Bud to let Steve stay, and Steve mentors Vince for a year or two. Vince has to back up Steve. Does that whole narrative change? And he goes, I think absolutely. Like, you think about that. Like, if Vince Young had to back up Steve McNair for at least a year, what that may look like. You talk about the laziness and the immaturity. Steve doesn't allow that. And he had so much respect for Steve that I think he would, not want to let Steve down.
Yeah, and that's another great what if you could play with what goes on there and to see how that would have worked out. But, Steve went on, and Baltimore did great in 06. I mean, they went 13-3, and then
Sure.
Peyton comes to town and beats them in the first round of the playoffs, and Baltimore has their worst game of the year, and Peyton rolls. But I just think, that's to me, that's one of the greatest what ifs with the Titans. And, I love asking people about this, is about what if Vince would have been that 10 to 11 year all-pro quarterback. What if he had stayed? 10 years would have got him to the 2015 season. Then you could have drafted a Mario. Well, you wouldn't have been up there in the top, but you could have gone on to see what would happen. But those are the ones you look at. And, another one for me, Chase, and I've talked about this a lot, is the 2010 draft when the Titans desperately wanted Jason Pierre-Paul, desperately wanted him. We've talked about this. I remember being over there like, yeah, the Giants don't want him. They're going to go someplace else. And then Earl Thomas went to the Seahawks, and I think that's the guy the Giants wanted. And then they're like, all right, we'll take, Jason Pierre-Paul. And I think the Titans panicked, and I think they took Derek Morgan, who was an okay player. Did not – if you look at, if you bring up Derek Morgan's name, people are like, oh, yeah, I forgot he's on the team. Never made an all-pro, never really made a true impact. Played 8 or 9 years, and that's fine. But those are some right there. That's the one to me is like, oh man, they weren't prepared for this. But for me, it's I go back to the most anticipated one. I think kind of the important one was the curse in '99. You're now officially the Titans. What are you going to do? You take a flyer on a guy who Floyd knew what he was doing, man, and Javon turned out to be a game changer that we have yet to see in 25 years anybody come close to what Javon Kearse did.
I'd love to, Floyd told the story so many times, and next time we have Jeff Fisher on, we'll ask him his perspective of that. But there was so, and that's the thing about draft day. Like, you have a plan going in, and then it changes in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And,
oh, yeah.
We joke about last year. I think the Titans had a plan, and it got out.
It did.
Is that not going to be a what if in the next few years of, well, what if it didn't get out and they do trade up and they get C.J. Stroud?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely it will be. Yeah, that's something crazy.
Because one of those teams that Monty Ossenfort, one of those GMs that Monty Ossenfort was talking to, on that video that I was talking about, was probably Rand Carthon.
Oh, could be.
Was it not?
Yeah. You ever seen that scene in Anchorman when Ron Burgundy, they're calling Veronica, him and the David Koechner, the champ, are calling her, they're prank calling her. That's what Vrabel was probably doing behind Carthon's back, calling people, hey, this is Rand here. We want to offer 8 people for the, just kind of throw them under the bus. Hey, real quick before we go to the break, I'm looking up Andy Katzenmoyer. This is another reason why we should forever love Floyd Reese. Andy Katzenmoyer played 3 years in the National Football League.
Jeez.
That's it. Played 3 years. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl with the Patriots in 01, but was gone after that. Can you imagine, Chaser? You don't take Javon Kearse and you take an overrated, overinflated, kind of average linebacker out of Ohio State, and he lasts 3 years. How the narrative of this Tennessee Titans football team is forever changed if you take Katzenmoyer instead of Javon Kearse.
I agree. Had one of the greatest rookie years ever in the history of the National Football League. Don't miss Nashville's best 2024 NFL draft coverage right here on 102.5 The Game. This Thursday, Twin Peaks in Madison at 6 o'clock for the draft. The best coverage as we break down each pick at the home of the 29-degree beer. Coverage is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment, ESPN Bet, and Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Glenn Fry bringing us back.
Oh, what
Is
a
this
great
directed
song.
somewhere?
This is for Rand Carthon and Callahan, baby. The heat is on. And if you love this job and love the pressure, you're gonna love it, man. This is what you're primed for. So I think in Rand we trust. I think Rand does the right thing and takes Joe Alt Thursday night, and all's well in the world. And, there'll be those pockets of Titans fans griping about, well, we should have taken that receiver, that Brock Bowers, blah, blah, blah. Has Will Levis is dumped on his ass 40 times a game. Take your tackle and be done with it.
Yeah, for sure. And, we're sitting here talking about anticipated drafts and what it was like in history. If you have one that stands out, 615-737-1025. Jared's actually about to send us the audio of Floyd telling the story of Javon Curse. So we'll have that in a second, Nick. Be on the lookout for that.
Oh, I haven't heard this. This will be good. And another question is, what if you're a Titans fan, what draft choice did they take? You're like, oh, come on, man. And don't say Isaiah Wilson, because I'm telling you, you watch Isaiah Wilson's tape at Georgia, he's pretty good. The problem I have with Isaiah Wilson, and I've told you this, Chase, is Sam Pittman should be called on the carpet, because Sam Pittman was the one that was praising Isaiah Wilson's work ethic and his attitude off the field. And Isaiah Wilson was a complete, abject disaster for this franchise, and they still haven't recovered for it. That's why they got to draft Joe Alt Thursday night. So Sam Pittman, you Arkansas fans, I know the tide's turned on it. You guys were all loving him a couple years ago, and now his back is against the wall too. I think Sam Pittman, whatever he says, is garbage, because he told Vrabel and he told Robinson. Yes.
Hey, look, no, it's not garbage. He says he loves to have a cold beer. That's not garbage.
But when he's telling your favorite football team that you're emotionally and financially invested in how great this player is, and he turns out to be a complete 180 of what you've told everybody, that you should take some culpability for that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we have it ready, and that's the nice part about we had Floyd with us for 5 years, and miss him obviously every day, but some of the stories that he would tell, and we have those forever. The late great Floyd Reese talking about Javon Curse and how that all came to be.
The Javon Curse draft. We loved Javon. I mean, we loved him. And I really thought Javon would go in the first, 5, 6, 7 picks. And so, I watched him, and he got past 7. And you're thinking, wow, is there a chance? So we started calling these other teams. Would you be interested in a trade? Would you be interested in a trade? And we just couldn't find anybody that we could sell on a trade. So he keeps moving down, and he keeps moving down, and now he's at 15. And in my mind, this will make your draft. If you can get this guy, it will make the entire draft. And so I called Richie McKay, who was at Tampa Bay, who was a GM at Tampa at that time. And I said, Richie, I want to move up to your spot. I said, I'll give you virtually whatever you want. I said, I got to get there. He said, no. He said, I think I'm going to make the pick. Well, then the obvious thing you say is, oh, geez. Well, okay, who are you going to take? He said, I'm going to take a defensive lineman. And I went, oh, no. I said, who are you going to take? He says, well, I'm going to take, I think it was Booger McFarland. I said, McFarland? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, okay, bye.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Look, man, I got chills hearing that. And we all love Floyd.
I miss that voice.
And that's fantastic. I mean, he was so smart about his knowledge of a player, and watching Javon just drop. And we'll tell you this again. I'm over there in that trailer, and everybody is, even the experts are like, Andy Katzenmoyer. They need a good, hard, fast, mean linebacker, and Katzenmoyer is the guy. Then they rolled out with Javon Curse, and this franchise was changed for the better forever. Man, so that was I had chills. Listen, that was so awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Man, what a moment back in 1999, 25 years ago.
I know. And you know what's crazy? You just said 25 years ago. Like, doesn't seem that long ago.
No,
Because it really
doesn't.
isn't.
No.
You know? But it's
That's also
a
the
quarter
day,
of a century.
That's also the day when I was there when Paul Kuharsky and Mike Hill got into an argument, and Paul about got his ass whipped in the trailer by Mike Hill, and Paul backed down. And Paul, you might have revisionist history on this, but I was there and I saw it. So you were scared Mike Hill was
Well,
going to dump you on your head out in the parking lot.
I'm sure this will come up tomorrow on Robbie and Rex Road when
Good.
Paul's there for the 8 o'clock hour. So
It was funny, you know.
yeah, well, I'm sure. But yeah, appreciate Jared for sending that, and always love when we can revisit stories with the GM, the late great Floyd Reese. But you know, where will this one fall? When we're talking about this 10, 15, 20 years from now, this draft, whatever happens, because we saw like last year in the early part of the draft, there were I felt like a lot of surprises, especially with Houston. Houston kind of changed the whole course of the draft. Is that going to happen again this year? We've been sitting here for months saying that the Titans will likely take a tackle and Joe Alt at 7, but
Right.
who knows?
Well, and that's the thing is that, we know what they should do, what they hope they should do, but do they end up actually doing that? We asked – here's something else too. Titans fans, you might get, banged on by the national people, but you guys are intelligent when it comes to your football team because I'm getting overran. We asked, the pick that you're like, oh, head scratcher. The Andre Woolfolk in 2003 is the overwhelmingly favorite draft pick of Titans fans thinking, what in the world were they doing? And Woolfolk was okay. I mean, he did okay at Oklahoma, but you just never know how it's going to translate to the next level. Real quick, the 1999 NFL draft, here's how hard it is to get a good – only 2 players in the 1999 NFL draft are in the Hall of Fame. Only 2.
Really?
Edgerrin James from the Colts and Champ Bailey from the Redskins. James went first.
Wow.
Went number 4 to the Colts in the first round, and Champ Bailey went at number 7 to the Redskins in the first round. So that's how hard – I mean, that's why when you go back and you look at draft choices throughout the years, I think the Steelers draft when they had like Mel Blount and a lot of those guys had like 6 Hall of Famers off that team, then you realize, all right, man, this is an inexact science, and you just pray that you hit on one of these guys that could take you to the next level. So it's not easy, but we know what the Titans have with Joe Alt on Thursday. Just take Joe Alt and make it easy for all of us.
We'll have more coming up next. Ramon Atkins, starting quarterback for the Cats, going to join us here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasey Big Joe live today at Lipscomb Academy. Nashville Cats having their practice here. This is where they will work out, and they will open their season against the Minnesota Myth this Saturday at Municipal Auditorium, the return of the AFL. And we say hello now to Ramon Atkins. He's a starting quarterback for the Nashville Cats, and winning that job. Ramon, congratulations. I know you have to be excited.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Definitely am to get started, ready to open the season.
So we had your coach in here earlier and talking about that, there's the first time you've all played together, you're all getting on the same page. You don't have a lot of time to put a roster together and all of that. What's the process been like for you joining this team and, working out and then ultimately winning the starting job?
Watching the website, watching the transaction, seeing who we bringing in, who's signing, connecting with them through social media platforms, meeting with them, seeing if they have any questions that I can answer or if they can answer for me. Just the mental preparation before we actually got here to start putting these pieces to the puzzle together.
A lot of guys are playing indoor football for the first time. You had the experience playing in the IFL. How big has that been for you, and how much have you kind of had to mentor some of the guys that are going to be doing this for the first time?
It's been great. That's why, some of the guys, they have been coming to me, asking me what tips they can use. Sometimes practice gets a little heated. I'm there to calm them down, to reassure them that, it's going to take time for you to learn it. And when we actually get into our first game, you'll be able to see the things that we've been talking about throughout practice.
So what was the biggest difference for you going from, playing on a bigger field in college or high school or whatever, and then going into the indoor in the IFL?
Everyone talks about the speed of the game, and they're absolutely right. The speed of the game is way faster. When I'm throwing the football, you have to pull off a little bit more, add more touch, be more precise, a lot more on time with your passing, and knowing where to lay the ball out for your guys.
It's pretty easy to overthrow, in the smaller field.
Definitely very easy.
So how much does the athleticism play in, and having to run and, not always rely on your arm, how much does that come into play?
Athleticism, it's 50-50 with the things that you learn and the skills that you develop in the game. When you're running a route, you don't need too much wiggle. You don't need too much at the top of the route. It's just really one cut and go. When you at quarterback, it's a lot of pre-snap, knowing already where you're going to go with the ball.
Yeah. We're talking to Ramon Atkins. He's a starting quarterback for the Nashville Cats. And, I asked Coach Kakinos this. The name Cats, obviously Nashville Cats means a lot to us here with going back to the early days of the AFL. There were a couple of iterations before this. To be a part of bringing a franchise back, bringing a league back, how special is that to you?
It's amazing. Being around the city, talking to different people, they're really excited because they were here. They were actively in the games in the previous year. So them sharing that past culture with me, made me feel great and, just preparing me for the culture that I'm stepping into.
Had you been in Nashville before?
No, first time.
So what's been your impressions of the Music City so far?
The hospitality is great.
We definitely have that. There's always something to do. Have you gotten to explore much?
Nope, just football.
Okay. All right. Well, that's probably a good thing. I'm sure Coach appreciates that, but when you get some time, there's definitely a lot to do. You'll also be playing at a historic venue, a Municipal Auditorium. It gets loud in there. So how excited are you when you step to the line for the first time, to hear that crowd, all the anticipation when it all comes to a head on Saturday?
It's going to be amazing. I'm just going to absorb the atmosphere, the energy from the crowd. I have been to the arena already. It is beautiful. I have to make sure we had high ceilings, for those deep passes. But
how much does practice? You've been practicing outside. Now, obviously, they've lined up how big the field's going to be, but how much has been practicing outside? You've probably learned by now that every 5 minutes the weather changes here in Nashville, Tennessee. So one day it's hot, one day it's cold. How much does that prepare you, though, to move indoors?
I mean, it makes the situation a little bit more difficult, which makes it easier for come game time.
Yeah.
That's how I looked at it. That's how I tried to help the guys look at it. Guys, we're not going to have this wind. We're not going to have this rain when we're indoors.
Yeah, which I'm certainly sure that helps for sure. Ramon, appreciate it. I know you're excited and probably tired of practice at this point and just ready to play the games, but it's going to be fast and furious coming Saturday, so we appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate you having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Ramon Atkins joining us, starting quarterback for the Nashville Cats. here at Lipscomb. And again, they will kick off their season, and the return on the Nashville Cats will be Saturday. We'll have coverage starting at 7 o'clock here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And Joe, I'll bring you back in.
Hey, buddy.
It's just we've talked about this. That I remember going to Cats games both times. Both in the first time and the second time. But this is just going to be so much fun to see this again, and the history involved, and we know a lot of the players involved, and Greg Pogue and Jeff Fisher and Dean Kakinos, who's coached in the Arena League for a long time. But I know that there's a lot of anticipation with what's going to go down Saturday.
I think it's great. I think it's the perfect time. And look, some of these games are being broadcasting on the NFL Network too as well. Look, I just saw a picture of Municipal with the field down and everything. You don't recognize Municipal. It looks fantastic. I mean, they've done a great job of remodeling, getting that field in there, the green, of course, the turf, brings out the vibrant colors in there. But that's Chuck McDowell, we talked when he had him on the air, he's the Cats owner, about what that venue, and you're the same way, Chase, and so is Dr. Crane. For us that grew up here in Nashville, especially for me and the guys in our 40s, 50s, and 60s, Municipal was our Mecca. I mean, that's where we went for all the concerts. There was no Starwood. There was no Bridgestone Arena. It was Municipal Auditorium. And we've talked, ad nauseum about what great events have gone on there. And I think this is perfect. It's a perfect environment. They've done a great job. It'll be exciting to watch how it all unfolds. And then they got a game up in F&M Bank Arena, May 17th or 18th, whatever it is. So there's a lot of good things happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm excited about that one too, because I know you probably haven't been there yet, but it's a fantastic place. Like it's such a nice facility that Austin Peay and the Predators have put there. And the city of Clarksville is a growing city. We always talk about Nashville, but there's some great cities around Nashville, Clarksville, Murfreesboro, Franklin, what have you, that are growing in their own right. And Clarksville getting a 10,000 seat arena is certainly awesome for them, and already had some pretty cool events. So perfect place to take the Cats up and play a game. So really looking forward to that. You mentioned Municipal. What's like your favorite event all time that you actually attended at Municipal?
Here we go. You know what it is, man. I've written about
Van Halen?
this. I've shared it with so many people. It was Van Halen in February of 1984. It's just another concert. Look, at that time, Van Halen was the biggest band in the world. World. And they're at Municipal Auditorium. There was a 1984 album. I mean, they were – and tickets were I think my ticket was $12. And Municipal at that time held 9,000 people. But I'm telling you, there were 400,000 people there that night. That's how many stories that were shared. But that was an iconic moment of seeing Van Halen on the stage at Municipal. And their opening act for them was Autograph. A friend of mine who was a section over tore off top of a pizza box and flew it like a Frisbee. I'm telling you, Chase, it's the damnedest thing I've ever seen in my life. It went up, it went down, it went up, went down, and curved and hit the lead singer of Autograph right in the face. That is an absolutely true story that was witnessed by 9,000 people. The Autograph, they were booing. The band got so mad that they just walked off the stage.
Jeez.
And you could try that shot. I'm telling you, 500,000 more times, you would never make it like he did.
No.
And it was amazing. Were you old enough to go to any shows over there?
Yeah. No, I went to I think when I was little, I saw Kool and the Gang that I don't really remember. But I went to – there was a circus there. I think I saw Sesame Street Live. I went to wrestling there. Actually, that's that was going to be my answer. So, TNA Wrestling held an event called Lockdown at Municipal Auditorium, and I got to see Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair very much later in their careers. But Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair face off against each other. Kurt Angle was there. Jeff Hardy was there. A lot of the big names. So
what's the one we went to that was at Municipal? It wasn't WWE, but it was something else.
AEW.
And remember we had it was the guy from Montgomery Gentry, Montgomery guy.
Oh yeah, Eddie Montgomery.
Yeah, he was wearing that big ass hat, and Trace Atkins was there, and Trace Atkins was behind us and said, "I got to move, boys. I can't see past the Hamburglar's hat."
That's what it was.
And
Yeah.
Trace Atkins, who's is 7'5" himself, and he's like, "I can't see because your damn hat, Montgomery." And then he walked down and just sat on the front row.
Yeah.
Just sat there. That was all municipal. So that was a moment I will never forget as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of great events, and the Cats go on Saturday night will be a lot of fun as well.
It will indeed. It will indeed. And, you mentioned Trace Atkins. I mean, the stories you've told me when you two played pickup basketball together, oh, man.
We toured from 01 to 05, a USO tour, and it was funny, we did pick and rolls, and, Trace brought the ball down the court at how tall he was, and I posted underneath. We got in so many fights. There was a fight one time, Chase, out in Ventura Beach. We fought these two guys. And it was, and we got into it, and one guy named was Woody, and it was got into it. They tried to hustle us
You
on
have
the
a friend
court.
named Jim?
He did. They tried to hustle us on the court, and it was Woody and Wesley, and then Trace and I. It like inspired some movie or something allegedly, but we had a good time during that.
So I'll tell you a funny story about Trace Atkins, one that is true. When I was in 8th grade, my dad and I took a trip to Wyoming, and he had a friend that had a ranch in outside of Cody, Wyoming. So really cool, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the PBR, professional bull riders, were having a rodeo on his ranch in this small town. And they were going to get a musical act to play before, and it was Trace Atkins. Well, we find out the day of the event because we're staying with the people that are running this thing and like putting it all together, and all the bull riders and everybody's there, and they get word that Trace might not be able to make it because he had gotten in a little bit of trouble in Nashville the night before. He was in jail. So
A little bit of trouble.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble. I forgot what it was, but he ended up. He made it. I don't think he didn't play, but he got there right at the start of the event, basically to just be like, "Hey, y'all, welcome in."
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and that was like 20 years ago. It was fantastic. All right, coming up next, we'll end the show as we always do with What Day Is It and Celebrity Birthdays. It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. All right, ESPN Bet is my official sports book. I've been telling you about them, and they will take you through all the huge sports moments this spring. The exclusive sports book of ESPN has it all, including offers and promotions from Scott Van Pelt and Stephen A. Smith. From the playoff intensity to getting on the links and out to the ballpark, there's no better time to be a sports fan. New users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. You must be 21 years or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. See the app for details. great Sam and Dave, the Soul Man, bringing us back. 102.5, 106.3, the game. Chasing Big Joe. Is this Sam and Dave or is this Blues
The
Brothers?
Blues Brothers, baby.
The Blues Brothers.
With our good
okay.
friend Steve Cropper. Play it, Steve. Meow, meow, meow.
Oh, I know Steve Cropper. His kids went to the old FRA.
That's right.
So I've actually played guitar with Steve Cropper before. It was pretty cool.
Well, because he
So,
caught
what
you stealing his guitar and he taught you a few lessons, so that's what happens.
Yeah, basically. That was it. I told you that we're at Lipscomb Academy, and the Cats, had practice and everything. I'm sitting in Coach Graham's office, which I'm sure he's like, is this radio show done with yet so I can do some work? But he's got his helmets, sitting behind his desk, and he's got UCLA, he's got Whites Creek, and then the Lipscomb Academy helmet sitting in the middle. I got to tell you, I love the Lipscomb Academy helmets. The matte black with the purple accent, just so good looking.
Yeah, that's a good helmet.
Yeah, for sure. All right, with that, let's tell you what day it is and celebrity birthdays.
All right, gentlemen, today for what day it is, we have National German Beer Day. We have English Language Day, as we are speaking English now.
I don't think we do that well, but,
Right.
we don't speak good.
Let's see here. Impossible Astronaut Day. So not an astronaut, so I guess that's impossible. International Creators Day. Have that going on. International Nose Picking Day.
That reminds me of the great Seinfeld episode when he was scratching his nose.
He's sitting in
Wasn't a
traffic.
pick.
It wasn't a pick. Let's see here. What else we have? International Lovers Day. So, love your loved ones, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no one to love.
Yes, you do, Chase. Family. Movie Theater Day is the next one. We also have National Cherry Cheesecake Day. Never had cherry cheesecake.
Me neither. Also,
Strawberry cheesecake.
do people go to the
How'd that?
movies anymore? I'm not sure they do.
I cannot tell you the last movie I went to.
I don't go to the movies at all. I just kind of wait
I love
2
going.
months.
Here's the thing. I love going to movies. Like when I make time for myself to go do that, and I like going by myself and turning my phone off and just being one with the film.
Attaboy.
It's awesome.
We'll bring
But
a June topic up about the most important film of all time, and I got my thoughts on it.
Okay.
The last 3 we have here, just to make it brief.
Yeah.
National English Muffin Day, National
Nice.
Picnic Day, and we also have National Lost Dog Awareness Day.
Chase is a big
that's
fan
a
of
good one.
National Muffin Top Day. All right, let's go. Time for birthdays. First birthday.
Can't stand you.
She is Wolfgang Van Halen's mama. We're talking about Valerie Bertinelli. How old is Valerie Bertinelli?
71.
77.
64. Good Lord, 77. Comedian George Lopez.
62.
69.
63. Chaser's up 1-0. Chase been on a roll lately, buddy. Now Chase, you got to get this one. John Cena.
Oh. 48.
44.
Chaser, he's 47. 2-0. This next up is John Oliver from HBO, the comedian John Oliver.
47.
53.
47 exactly. Chase is up 4-0. Boy, Chase getting it done. Let's see who else here. Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. Never heard of her. Boy, this is good. All right, here we go. Down to the nitty gritty now, people. Yes. The great actor Lee Majors. Lee, Eastern Kentucky football alumni, changed his name to Lee Majors because there was already another actor with the same name. His favorite all-time football player was Johnny Majors. True story. Changed his name to Lee Majors.
Lee Majors. 84.
87.
85. Chase up 5-0. Her pitcher is in our studio, Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company. I'm pointing to it right now behind me. How old is Joyce DeWitt?
73.
83.
75. Chase up 6-0. Rolling. Director Michael Moore.
64.
61.
70. Let's see who else we got here. I'm trying to think people that you've heard of. All right, the twin brothers of Greta Van Fleet, Jake and Josh Kiska.
24.
28.
28 exactly.
Does that mean it's 4 points because they're twins? I mean, technically, right?
No. But you did good. Chase wins 6-2. Well done, Chase. On
Hey,
that.
you forgot one. Jeremy K. Gover. It's his birthday.
It is. He turns a big 27 today.
27 for Jeremy
Happy
K. Gover. Shout out to
birthday.
Gover. Happy birthday.
Chase, will I see you tomorrow?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I might leave here, get on 65, and head south until I hit water. So
Chase doing the
never
show
know.
from Panama City tomorrow.
I might.
As we should leave the show every day to our guys out there. Listen, if you're struggling, again, on your cell phone, you can talk to somebody. 988. Call 988 on your cell phone. You can talk to us, to Chase, I, and Dr. Crane. We're here for you. We love you and know that our world's a better place because you are here. And you would be terribly missed if something happened, all right? So know that. Know that we love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace coming up next here on 102.5, 106.3. That game.